So this chapter is actually the one called the God Valley Incident. So we are finally getting to everything that this epic flashback has been leading up to here, involving Davy D. Zebek, my favorite dragon, Garp, Roger, Shanks, Blackbeard, and many more legends, so make sure to stay tuned for this one, which with that title doesn't really even require me to add any additional hype to it. Now, channel the Pirate King within and smash that like button if you enjoy seeing One Piece reviews like this one on the channel and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the Nakama if you haven't by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future One Piece videos and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So we start where we finished last time, with the MC bringing 8 to 9 members of the previously mentioned Davy Clan. This is all the crazier because the Davy Clan was thought to be extinct pretty much for like 800 years. They haven't seen them since. So I can't overemphasize how big of a deal this is for this Holy Knights tournament. Zebek's son, Kid Teach, aka Kid Blackbeard, and his mom are 2 of these Davy Clan members, and we actually see Teach's mom. She actually looks a lot like Robin and Olivia, but with messy hair. So don't ask me why Blackbeard looks the way he does, with his body type and all, although we'll get a clue later. But given that these are his parents, it is a bit weird. But we do also see 2 men of the Davy Clan, and they are very big. Celestial dragons in the audience are enraged at the Davy Clan members and are throwing knives and axes at the Davy Clan slaves and saying that the Davy Clan were a despised lineage. One of them even says, "You are buccaneers too, aren't you?" But no important character confirms that information in this chapter, so we'll need to wait for more information about that to be 100% sure. Nevertheless, it looks like the Davy Clan were a clan of buccaneers originally, and that would explain why Blackbeard and Kuma have similar body types. And it also shows why Blackbeard would be double hated for being both. Kid Blackbeard looks terrified at the Celestial Dragon audience while his mom tries to protect him from the things the Celestial Dragons are throwing. Obviously, this is a horrible situation to be in, but it's nice that Blackbeard at least had a mom and dad that cared about him deeply. I just compared it to Loki and his mom, and it's at least something Blackbeard can be grateful for. Also, keep in mind, guys, Blackbeard could be the great antagonist of the series when all is said and done, so it's important to pay attention to these moments where Oda is giving us important insights into his backstory and how he became the person he became. Let's see if through this backstory that's unfolding right now before our eyes, Oda can help us to better understand how Blackbeard became who he is today. Some things are already starting to fall into place if you ask me. For instance, Blackbeard probably knows that his father was betrayed by his own crew, and maybe that's why he was okay with betraying Thatch for the Dark Fruit. And perhaps there's even more to that story than we fully know too. He may have thought that it was betray or be betrayed because of what happened to his father, and he wanted to avoid meeting the same fate. And then, as pointed out before, the Blackbeard versus Ace battle takes on new significance when we think about the rivalry between Rox and Roger, their fathers. Anyways, back to the chapter itself, and the MC actually tries to stop the Celestial Dragons by saying if one of the slaves dies at this stage, they will be penalized. So again, keep in mind it's a game to them, and the only reason the MC is trying to stop them is so the game can be more interesting later on. Finally, the prize presentation ends and the main event, aka the hunting game, begins. We see many pages of Celestial Dragons and God's Knights killing people on God Valley. These are pages that yet again show us just how inhumane the culture of the Celestial Dragons is and how they treat everyone else as subhuman. Future revolutionary leader and current Marine Dragon sees Kuma and Ivankov. As we know now, these 3 will be close allies in the Revolutionary Army down the line, and we can already start to see how this partnership may have developed. Here, Dragon does the unthinkable for a man in his position. He shoots a Celestial Dragon who is about to shoot Kuma, thus saving Kuma in the process. We can only try to really put ourselves there and register just how crazy it would be for a Marine to do what Dragon just did. Gotta give the young Dragon respect for that, being able to do what's right when all the Marine training and societal convention is telling him to do the opposite. Then in an epic double page, my favorite character currently joins the chapter, and if you've been tuning in to the recent chapters, you know that I mean Rox, of course. Yes, we see the Rox pirates arrive at God Valley. This scene takes place right before the scene of them there that we saw during chapter 1096. Rox pirates were arguing about how they would rescue Shaki because let's not forget that most people are there because of her. Even Rox is there on paper because of Shocky, although he's revealed to us in Herald that he's actually more interested in saving his son and wife. And in this flashback, Garling acts as a kind of character foil to Rox, who we saw killed the mother of his child, whereas Rox is doing all he can to save his. Rox, like I've been saying this whole time, is looking like a stand-up pirate if you ask me. So Rox himself says, "Hear me out, boys. Here they have Shocky, treasures, and devil fruits. What good will infighting do us? Let's cooperate with each other for now, and once we get back, we will split them up fair and square. Sounds good." So here he's pretty much trying to guarantee that the crew doesn't turn on itself and can keep the Celestials busy so he can focus on saving his wife and son, because if infighting happens, there will be more Celestials free to focus on him. Barbell raises a good concern though when he asks, how are we gonna split up Shocky? Shiki says obviously she will fall for the guy who helped her the most. Kyo says you are right, so stay away all of you. And John, with money and treasure always on his mind, says nope, Shocky will fall for the guy who ends up with the most treasures. I love getting all of their personalities through their speech like this. Newgate plays it cool and not so cool at the same time when he says, do what you want, I'm just going to save her as a friend, although I wouldn't mind her falling in love with me either. And then of course Stussy responds with a what? What do you mean by that, Newgate? Honestly, been loving the dynamic between these two. Gloriosa says, if I save Shocky, I suppose Roger will thank me, but It's possible that the irony of being thanked by the man she loves for saving his actual love interest is starting to dawn on her, and the idea doesn't sound as great as it did at first thought. Strusen says Wang Ji stayed on the island and forbade anyone from entering the bar. Linlin says, what a bunch of idiots, even if the world ends tomorrow, Shocky won't turn toward any of you. And honestly, it's funny and refreshing to get her correct woman's perspective on the matter. She's definitely right that Shocky won't be interested in any of them, and I like this flashback Linlin. Oda again hints at Kaido's Gyarados fruit here, which he's been doing a good amount. Kaido says, Linlin, are you actually going to give me the devil fruit? At first, one might think, why would Linlin give him the OP fruit? But Oda's been setting it up quite a bit lately by having Linlin mention the idea and Kaido continue to push it so that it wouldn't be that surprising at this point. Still, I look forward to the specifics of the circumstances though. Keep in mind, it's not like Big Mom can get it for herself since she has one, but still, she is thinking about strong fruits for her children. Dragon, continuously acting like the anti-marine on the island, uses the chaos created by the arrival of the Rocks pirates to rescue the twin babies, meaning of course Shanks and Shamrock. And he obviously did the right thing here, even though Shamrock doesn't exactly end up becoming a good person. It's philosophically interesting though to see how Shanks and Shamrock, two twins, chose two completely different paths. I look forward to learning more about their diverging paths through flashbacks too and how it happened. I wonder if it's a bad thing that the flashbacks are so good in One Piece that I literally look forward to them more than the actual present. Then, as if this chapter wasn't hype enough already, we also get the Roger pirates arriving at God Valley. This scene takes place just after the scene we also saw during chapter 1096. Roger says he's going to rescue Shocky and orders his crew members to go for the treasures. You'd think the future Pirate King's crew would obey him without a second thought, but hilariously they completely ignore his wishes and trample Roger as they rush to take back Shocky first. You gotta hand it to Oda, he is great with the humor. Then we see the Gods Knights presented. We see the same scene we saw during chapter 1096 again, but now the panel is a full page, and in addition to the knights we saw then, we can now see two new ones too. One is a huge creature similar to a yeti with horns and wings. The second is a woman with horns, sharp fangs, and black and white messy hair. Oda loving his messy hair this chapter. She wears sunglasses and smokes a cigar. This woman looks a lot like Hillingham, but we don't know yet if they are related. So the Marines at God Valley were not surprisingly not able to stop all the pirates who were arriving from all directions. Thank you again, Big News Morgans, for leaking this news so that everyone knew to come here. You're a legend for that. But before the chapter ends, we get an epic double page of Garp's fleet joining the party at God Valley. Garp uses his meteor fist to attack some pirates from his ship, while Marine soldiers on the island cry with emotion because of the arrival of Garp's reinforcements. So here we are, super curious to see how we go from Rox just wanting to save his wife and kid to Roger and Garp teaming up to stop him. How will Oda write this? Will it tarnish Roger and Garp's reputation forever? Will Rocks do something absolutely crazy that we didn't see coming and thus make it make sense? Can't wait to find out what happens. All I know is that the anticipation is at peak levels. Peak Piece continues as Oda continues to cook, so make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter that is poised to be even crazier than this one. And if you enjoyed this one, you don't want to miss this video that YouTube says you'll like on screen right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more One Piece, and I'll see you in the next one.